Today I'm going to analyze the chords and songwriting secrets of the song That's Not Me off the Beach Boys' amazing Pet Sounds album from 1966. That's Not Me is a coming of age song off of Pet Sounds. The lyrics are very simple. I'm not even going to analyze those in this song. They're just very much like I'm a big boy now type of thing. But, they might not seem that amazing today, but compared to, the surf and car songs that came before this was a huge step forward lyrically for Brian. I still prefer the abstract poetry of Smile, but him writing songs about, his inner feelings, it was a big step forward. So That's Not Me is not one of the more complicated chord progressions on the album. But there are a couple nice key changes, some unexpected ones, and then some cool chord voicings and all that stuff, and an interesting song form. So Brian Wilson is pretty much the best in pop music as far as chords and song structure, and let's get right into it here. First, you need to understand my type of chord analysis chart. They're a basic chord chart, but then you'll see these little suns, which indicate a new key wherever they are. So in the first bar here, A is the one of the key A, okay? Go down here, F sharp is the one of that key, which is F sharp. So that was a new key when we hit it right there. It's a pretty simple song form. I wanted to call it an A, B, C because there's really only 3 parts, and that's really the best way to call that, but I don't like seeing a letter A above the chord A as a section name. I think it gets confusing with like, what's the chord? Plus we have this key thing. So I need my section titles to be like a name, like verse, pre-chorus. There's not even a chorus in the song really, other than it says That's Not Me in the verse. But let's get right into it here. So the very first 4 bars here is pretty much a riff off the most basic chord progression in Western music, which would be in a major key, like we're in A here, is basically going 1 to 5. So you see there's some other stuff. There's an alternate bass note here. There's an I.S.S 4 over E. That's still an A. So it's basically a riff off of 1 to 5 in A. 1 to 5 is the most primary chord progression in pop music. The next most primary one would be 1 to 4. And those are pretty much mirrors of each other in the harmonic series. To go up a perfect fifth, or the third harmonic, would be an E, but to go down a perfect fifth, or the negative third harmonic, would be D. So that's where we get 1, 4, 5 from. But we've heard this chord progression all over Western music. It's now or never. So hold me tight, kiss me, my darling, be mine tonight. So that would just be A to E7 to A, 1, 5, 1 in the key of A. So this song, there is no intro. I think that's cool sometimes. I think sometimes we get caught up in these big elaborate intros, or just that you have to. I'm one of those people that always wants to be like, let's put on a little intro. And I think like 8 times out of 10, wouldn't that be 4 out of 5? That's cool, but sometimes it just got to go straight into the song. So this song goes straight into it. I'll play the first 4 bars, maybe the first 8 bars. I had to prove that I could make it alone now, but that's not me. I wanted to show what a big boy had grown into. That's not me. Into the pre-chorus. Anyway, a very, very simple chord progression. I'll break it down here. It's A, and then I put it in parentheses because it's questionable whether this is actually an A over E. It's really like a guitar that's playing this line that's like. So if a low on the guitar plays it, does that mean it's a bass note? I can't hear if the bass note doubles it. It's kind of muddy as far as like what the bass is really doing. But I called it there. It sounds like the spirit of it. I had to prove that I could make it alone now, but that's not me. I wanted to show what a big boy I had grown So let's take that from the top. 1, just change the bass note. Now it's 1 again, but keep that same bass note. And finally, that 5. Remember I said this whole thing is a 1-5 in E, or a 1-5 in A. So A, it's A again. Then just another form of A. I'm going to let you in on a little secret here. A-sus 4, it really sounds like a 2-5-1. And what would a 2-5-1 in A be? It would be a B minor 7. 5 would be E7. So when you have an A-sus 4 over E, this doesn't sound very much like an A chord, right? Watch. Is anyone really getting A vibes? So I'll let you in on that secret. It's that when you have a voicing like this A-sus 4, that has all the notes you need of a B minor 11 chord. And if you don't know what 11 means, you can play your B minor, and 11 is basically a perfect fourth above the root. That's how you remember it. That's the mnemonic. Oh, what's an 11 again of a B minor? It's a perfect fourth. Here comes the bride. So that's a chord Steely Dan would do all the time. It's a huge chord in jazz, is how do we get more color into a minor chord? You could do a minor, minor 7, minor 9, and finally 11. And it opens up all these possibilities for stacking in fourths, which Steely Dan took huge advantage of. Fourths sound so cool because they're the opposite of the harmonic series. The harmonic series promotes perfect fifths. So if you tighten that up by doing the opposite of a perfect fifth, which is going... The opposite of going up a perfect fifth is going down a perfect fifth. So that'd be D, which becomes a perfect fourth up. So those, it's hard to visualize those as opposites harmonically, but listen, compared to this, there's A, E, now the perfect fourths. It's very tense in this kind of pretty close way. Anyway, so this A-sus 4 over E just happens to have all the notes you would need of a B minor 11 chord to make the chord stand out. So B minor 11, there you have the minor 7, the 3, and the 11. And that's a voicing Steely Dan. I know we're analyzing the Beach Boys here, and there's not much link between those two groups' music, but when Brian goes A to A over E, this A-sus 4, the bass is just pedaling on E, so it's not doing B, but listen to how close it sounds if I put B in the bass. So in a way, it's functioning as a 2-5 right there. You could call this progression 1-2-5, but I was just being kind of that A-sus 4 over E is ambiguous, so I don't know if that makes sense to you. You could call this semantics, that you can call it different things, but there's different ways to say the same thing. A-sus 4 over E is the same as B minor 11 over E. So if I called that B minor 11 over E, I would not be wrong, and you could call that a 2-5. But I'm calling it 1-5. 1. I had to prove that I couldn't make it alone now, but that's not me. I wanted to show what a big boy I had grown into. That's not me. Pre-chorus. I could try to be big in the eyes of the world. What matters to me is what I could be to just one girl. Just one girl. I'm a little bit scared 'cause I haven't gone home in a long time. So we make it there to that thing I call bridge. I am not at all happy. I wish I could have called this A, B, C, because that's all this song is A, B's, and A's, B's, and C's. Verse, I feel comfortable with. I had to prove. But pre-chorus, maybe if it went to a chorus, you could call that a pre-chorus, but it never does go to a chorus. So it sounds like a pre-chorus, though, so that's fine. Then I couldn't call this next part a chorus. Once had a dream, so I packed up and split for the city. So I just called that a bridge. That's all I need, because after that, we're just going to have verses, pre-choruses, and bridges. Even the outro is just the bridge on repeat. So when we're analyzing song forms, we look for different sections. And let's go through this whole song really quick. We have a verse. I had to prove that I can make it alone. And then a pre-chorus. I could try to be big in the eyes of the world. And then a bridge. I once had a dream, so I packed up and split for the city. Even that whole part. Still calling that the bridge. Then it takes that, it adds an extra bar. See how it has 5 bars right there on that E9? So take note, if you're looking to add spice into your songs, add an extra bar. Don't do everything in groups of 4. Do some groups of 3, groups of 2, groups of 5. Groups of 7. As long as it's not all 4, 4, 4, 4, it just gets boring sometimes. You add an extra bar. We'll get to that in a little bit, just how cool and what a little nice breath that adds to the composition. But after that bridge comes to an end, you take the repeat and just do another verse, another pre-chorus, another bridge, and then you take what I called the second ending, which does this unexpected modulation, and then it just goes back to the bridge, which I'm calling the outro, and just repeats to fade. So pretty simple. There's two times it does an uneven number of bars, and both times it's 5 bars. It adds an extra bar, these 2 places over here, and we will get to that as we go. So let's keep going here, and I think this will be a short video compared to my usual. It's not really that complex of a song. So we got the verse. I'd prove that I could make it alone now, but that's not me. I wanted to show what a big boy I had grown into. That's not me. Sorry. Pre-chorus. I could try to be big in the eyes of the world. What matters to me is what I could be to just one girl. So that's the bridge there. And I love how the chord progression to the bridge starts 2 bars early. You see it gets to that F sharp, a new key there. So let's analyze the pre-chorus. So coming out of the last 4 bars of the verse. Now we can see a B minor 7 to E7 is one of the most typical chord progressions in pop and jazz. That's what you call a 2-5 chord. In the key of A, the 2 chord would be B minor or B minor 7, and the 5 chord would be E7. Then the 1 would be A. So Brian does something very Pet Sounds on here, and Pet Sounds is really known more than perhaps any record in pop history for putting alternate bass notes or non-root bass notes. So if the chord is B minor 7, he's not going to just do a B. He's going to put, in this case, the 5 in the bass. And that just sounds so Pet Sounds. And I want you to listen. This is subtle because a 2-5 chord progression is kind of boring. We've heard it a billion times. You need something to spice it up. And Brian knew just what that something was. Instead of this sound, a 2-5 with normal bass notes, he did this. I don't know. I think that adds so much. So yeah, so what's happening here is we are still in the key of A for that pre-chorus. Going into the pre-chorus here. I'm gonna try to be big in the eyes of the world. 2-5 again. What matters to me is what I could be. Then to 3. To just one girl. Now a key change. So that 3 is really pretty ambiguous. It goes to a, if we're in A, 3 shares a lot of the notes of 1. So A is this, but if you look right here, C sharp minor, if I played A major 7, C sharp minor is inside of that. So when we go to a C sharp minor 7, it's almost functioning like a 1, but then suddenly, without it sounding like a key change, we go to F sharp. And you always have to think of things in terms of what note is F sharp of A to kind of understand which key you have modulated to. So if we're in A and we went to F sharp, What happens diatonically from F sharp is an F sharp minor, but you're perfectly welcome in A to go to like the 5 of that F sharp and go to major. Morricone would do that all the time. Really good stuff. So he ends up in the key of F sharp, which was the 6 of A. And he gets there in a pretty strange way by falling down after this pre-chorus. After this E7, it falls down to 3. To just one girl. Then an unexpected modulation to the key of F sharp. But it doesn't really sound like it. So I think I know what's going on there is when the number one way to get to a new key is to do the 5 dominant of the new key. So does that make sense? If I'm in A and I want to get to the key of C, I would have to do the 5 of that key, so G7. So if I'm in A and then I go to G7, that leads us to C. So that is the most common and kind of almost a cop-out way to get to a new key, but you have to know it nonetheless. So I can't help but notice when we're on this C sharp minor 7, that C sharp is 5 of F sharp. One problem. 5 is almost always a dominant chord. Then it would make sense if it went, what matters to me is what I could be to. Right here. Just one girl. It doesn't do that C sharp 7. Girl. That would make sense, but no. Brian's gonna put it on C sharp minor 7, so it's doing 5 minor to 1, which absolutely does not have that pull, the pull of a did I just say a swimming pool? The pull of a C sharp 7. So here's F sharp, now C sharp minor 7. It's a cool sound, it just doesn't have the want of the resolution. So 5 minor is a huge thing in pop music. So if we're in the key of A like we are in this song, 5 is usually major or dominant. But in pop music history, it borrows from another key and just goes straight to the minor 5, which is a really nice sound if you know Mr. Bungle Pink Cigarettes. Hush me, the verse, and that's 5 minor. The wind in the leaves to 1. Other songs that use 5 minor, Louie Louie. Everyone thinks that's so typical, but how much is 1, 4, 5 is usually major in like 99% of those pop rock songs. No, but look what Louie Louie does. It goes to 5 minor. A, D, E minor. I think that is cool. Strawberry Fields. Let me take you down 1, 'cause I'm going to Strawberry Fields. That's 5 minor. Nothing is real. Beach Boys Kokomo. Don't like the song, but everybody knows a little place called Kokomo. So that right away goes from A to Afternoon Delight to 5 minor. We'll perfect our chemistry. What's that other one? Oh, Ordinary World. I don't cry but yesterday in the ordinary. So yeah, that 5 minor, this doesn't even really sound like it, but when it's going C sharp minor 7 to the new key of F sharp, it's pretty much doing 5-1 in F sharp. Monkey Wrench, 5 is not the typical 5, it's a minor this time, which is not as common. So pre-chorus. I can try to be big in the eyes of the world. What matters to me is what I could be to C sharp minor. Just one girl. New key. So then we're at a new section, and I love when it does that key change. It does 2 bars that kind of predict the chord progression of the next section. So like if you have a section that's coming up here in 2 bars, if you can find a way to start doing the chord progression already, it's like it kind of gets you into that part. So like just one girl here. We're not even to bridge yet. Here's bridge, but you're already doing it. I'm a little bit scared 'cause I haven't wet the bed in a long time. You needed my love and I know that I left at the wrong time. So that is finishing off that bridge. You take the first ending and then repeat back to the verse. No difference except the lyrics. So yeah, coming out of the pre-chorus, we get that 3, the C sharp minor, which almost acts like the 5 of F sharp major 7. And it's a new key, kind of out of nowhere, but it doesn't sound jarring. I'm a little bit scared 'cause I haven't been home in a long time. And then it goes up a 4th. So anyway, in the key of F sharp, we haven't talked about this yet. This is a really simple progression where a bass note, again, adds something to make it less typical. So the typical thing would be 1 to 2. So if the bass note followed it, we've heard that. But you can do a pedal tone on the bass note and just keep it F sharp major. So just keep it F sharp. So that's just 1 to 2 in F sharp major. Don't get confused. A 2 and a 4 are very similar. So 2 is G sharp minor 7, but 4 would be B major. Listen how similar it sounds if I just do B major. Instead of the G sharp minor 7, I do. So either one works. I think it's functioning more as a 1 to 2. I'm a little bit scared 'cause pedal tone. Hear how much that adds? Instead of going up, watch. It just brings the whole song with it. See the emotion of... So that's the thing that sometimes if you're looking to make your songs a little less boring, if you can go back and revise, and it doesn't mean you want to make your... Sometimes I try to do so many complicated bass notes and then I go back and I'm like, oh, that just sounds like pretentious. But you've got to at least try. You've got to try to find the bass notes that are going to elevate the song. So I think Brian's done a really nice job of not doing too much in this song. So this bridge, I'm a little bit scared 'cause I haven't been home in a long time. 1 to 2. Then it just simply goes to 4, which would be a B major or B major 7. And then really what's happening is it turns 4 dominant, but I didn't call it that. I said it's a key change. Sometimes things are functioning as 2 things at once. So when I hit that B major 7 and then go to B7, which basically was 4 of the key we were in, F sharp. But then this B7 actually moves up a 4th to a new key. You could call that E9, flat 7 of F sharp major 7, and it honestly sounds a lot like that. B major 7, B7. Then you could call this flat 7, this E major 9. But it's like it changed keys to the key of E for a minute. So that's what I'm calling it. I totally understand if you want to conceptualize that all in F sharp and call it F sharp. The B major 7 would be 4. B7 would be 4 dominant. E9 would be 7 of... Then finally, E9, which is like an E dominant chord with a 9, takes us back to A. So then we're modulate back to the key of A. So the keys we've done so far are A, F sharp, E, then back to A, do, 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 do. No, it's not doing the in bloom. So yeah, the bridge had modulated via C sharp minor 7, which kind of acted like a 5 minor that leads to F sharp, new key 1 to 2 with the pedal tone. 1, bit scared, 2, 1, 2. Now 4, it goes to 4 dominant, but I'm calling that a new key 5 of E. Then we go to E. And then we simply make that a E9, which is a dominant chord. And it's an extra bar right there. I want you to listen to that extra bar. So, I'm a little bit scared because I haven't been home in a long time. Check out this extra bar coming up. You needed my love and I know that I left at the wrong time. There's an extra bar. So cool. To me, that adds a lot of breath to cut off a bar sometimes and do a group of 3 that leads to a new section, or a group of 5 that leads to a new section. Sometimes even a group of 2. And it doesn't matter if you put a 4 plus a 2 together, that's 6. Anything to get it away from 4, 4, 4, or 8, 8, 8, 8. Which to me is a subtle way to make your song boring. You might not even realize why it's boring, but add an extra bar, and I think you've spiced it up a little. I think you've added some cumin and some coriander, some cayenne pepper, maybe even some fenugreek seed. So it goes right back to what you would probably call verse 2. It takes the repeat there, and really no different except the lyrics and then the way the background instruments are playing, which we'll go over in a little bit. I'm scared because I haven't been home in a long time. You needed my love and I know that I left at the wrong time. My folks, when I wrote and told them what I was up to, said that's not me. Went through all kinds of changes, took a look at myself in the mirror, that's not me. I miss my pet and the places I'd known. Every night as I lay there alone, I would dream. So from bridge, the second bridge, it'll then take the second ending, which is an unexpected modulation and an unannounced modulation, really, because there's no chord that precedes it or hints that it's changing chords. I don't know if that's a real term. I've come up with that in some of my other videos. Sometimes a key is really obvious and they're announcing there's going to be a new key and then it goes there, and sometimes it just goes there out of nowhere, and this is a case of that. So it really just takes the bridge and then suddenly goes up a half step, which is kind of a cheap gimmick, but if you don't abuse it as a great songwriting device to just bring the listener's ears up to a new place. So anyway, the second bridge. I once had a dream, so I packed up and split for the city. Second ending. I soon found out that my lonely life wasn't so pretty. Going up a fourth again. Same as before. I'm glad I went now. I'm like much more sure that we're ready. Extra bar. I once had a dream. Another unexpected modulation. Back down. That is the cool thing. There is this thing in pop music, and you heard it a lot in the 80s, that are all over the place in pop, that the song just goes up a half step. I would say 5 times out of 6 when that happens in pop music, it's just up a half step from that point forward. It doesn't go back down. So in this case, it goes back down, which leads you to believe, was it really a key change at all if it circles back to the key it was in? So I like those kind of circular key changes, even when you think you've gone up to a new place that's your new sort of a baseline, or not foundation. Yeah. So let's watch how that does a double key change there, really. So the second bridge would be, I'm a little bit scared because I haven't been home in a long time. I soon found out that my lonely life wasn't a pretty. Up a fourth. I'm glad I went now. I'm that much more sure that we're ready. Ouch. Oh no. Then back to the original key, which okay, I'm just calling it the outro, so it's really the same as the bridge after that F9. That's a great outro. It's just something to vamp off of, and then some of the other instruments start to heat up a little bit. There's a cool bass line where he's like, I think Brian says like, be a little bluesy, even though it's not bluesy at all, the chords. It's like... So yeah, it just keeps going. I once had a dream, so I packed up and split for the city. For those of you who don't know, that's a quarter note triplet. If 3, 4, tripla is called a quarter note triplet. So it's a cool thing to do on a vocal, like, because I once had a dream, so I quarter note triplet the city. So yeah, from the second bridge, takes the second ending, up a half step suddenly, goes up to fourth to C major 7, quickly to the key of F, does a 5-1 and F, there's 1, but then just turns that dominant, which leads you to believe we're going to go back to B flat like before. But this time it doesn't do what it did last time when you had that bar of 5, and it instead does another unexpected modulation back to the original bridge, or it's called the outro here, which... So we're back into that key of F sharp major. So all the key changes in this song are A, F sharp, E, A. Then again A, F sharp, and then this time G, then F, then B flat, then F sharp. So that is just weird. I'd play all those together and you get an atonal melody. Not that part, but this part. Super cool. So yeah, again from the second verse. My folks, when I wrote and told them what I was up to, said that's not me. Went through all kinds of changes, took a look at myself. I'm a big boy now. Sorry I'm doing so much sarcastic singing. One, I'm trying to evade the algorithm, which just detects any hint that you play some other song and just takes all the monetization away from you. The other thing is, if I'm being honest, I don't love the lead vocal in this song. It's Mike Love. I think Mike Love is great for certain things in the Beach Boys. But as far as the lead vocals, it's just he's the corny, this time each year in our hometown, the county fair comes our way. So every time I hear him sing a lead vocal, it just sounds a little bit like I'm a big boy now. So maybe that's fitting for this song, and this song on Pet Sounds almost feels like, hey Brian, like, am I gonna get to sing lead on one? And Brian's like, hey, I guess do this one, because I probably would have liked to hear I don't think it would have been right for Carl. Maybe not even Brian. You can hear versions of Brian singing the demo of this, which is pretty good. It's always good to hear Brian sing. But I would like to hear like Al sing this one maybe. But anyway, Mike Love does a decent enough job, but it just sounds like a little bit like, my folks when I wrote and told them what I was up to, said camp is great. I went through all kinds of changes. I'm a big boy now, but that's not me. I miss my pet and the places I've known, and every night as I lay them alone, I would dream. It's the second time we're doing the bridge. Once had a dream, so I backed up and split for the city. Second ending, unexpected modulation up a half step. I soon found out that my lonely life wasn't so pretty. I'm glad I went now. It's funny, Mike couldn't sing that high, so they do these little things where Brian will just take the lead part at a certain point. So that was one of those parts. I'm glad I went now. I'm that much more sure that we're ready. Back to the key of F sharp. I once had a dream, so I
split for the city. I soon found out that my lonely life wasn't so pretty.
Yeah, there's a that's the whole song. Really simple. It's in a really ABC format. ABC, then ABC, and then outro, which would be another C. Pretty simple, but cool, unexpected chord progressions, modulations, but pretty simple in a certain way too for Pet Sound standards. I mean, when you're thinking of like, you know, God only knows. Yeah, it gets pretty nuts. But the instruments in the song are super cool, as in everything on Pet Sounds, and you should listen to just the instrumental track. I dare you to look it up right now and listen to it. But there's a B3 organ, which is just playing holding the chords, I think, through the whole song. And there's a couple different basses. I can't really make heads or tails. I think there's like a overdubbed sort of electric bass. There's like a Dan Electro bass. There's some like plucked piano strings. There's definitely a 12-string guitar. There's some kind of other electric lead guitar. And then there's just a drum kit, which is pretty sparse, like a wooden percussion, tempo block kind of thing. And then there's like this tambourine, which is pretty prominent. Some of it even gets a little sloppy, but it still holds the groove together because they have super great musicians. There's also amazing background vocals, as there is in most Beach Boys songs. So that is pretty sparse for Pet Sounds, if you think of God Only Knows, with the sleigh bells and accordions and French horns and string set, like just absolute barrage. But somehow this song sounds fuller than it is. You know, when I read down that list of what instruments are in the song, I was like, that's it, really? Like, but no, it's a super cool backing track and great song, and it's attainable. If you don't have to be an advanced person, you can just look at the chords I play here and just learn them there, and then start learning in your head. Oh, that's 5-1 and A. Like, first, you might have to memorize the shapes, but what I'm trying to teach you is like, how does this work as a song, like for a songwriter? So you could hopefully apply those to your own music. And there's no one greater to learn from in pop music than Brian Wilson. In my opinion, he is the ultimate master. He's beyond the Beatles, even together in the whole unit. I love the Beatles, but to me, Brian Wilson is the gold standard for pop songwriting. And part of it's the sophistication, but part of it is that innocence as well. It's not, his music isn't like, look at me, I'm so complicated, you know? I don't really need to get into the lyrics. Like I said, the whole thing to me sounds a little bit like I'm a big kid now, but I do acknowledge that it's a huge step forward from got her daddy's car and she cruised through the hamburger stand now. Writing songs about like how I feel and mom and dad, I'm different than what you think I am, kind of introspective, and really that's what Pet Sounds is about. So this song definitely embodies the theme of Pet Sounds, which is like this isolation, kind of I'm ahead of, you know, I just wasn't made for these times. Maybe I've surpassed everyone. Just this really longing for innocent days, and almost a foreshadowing the doom of the Smile era. You can almost hear it in some of these songs with their youthful optimism, you know, sort of maturing viewpoint. Anyway, thank you so much for listening to my video, and I have tons of other ones like this. Check out my playlist page on this channel. You're going to see tons of Beach Boys song analysis, other amazing chord. I only really choose songs that have great chord progressions. That's the basis of my lesson. That's really the only theme of things I choose. You're not going to find me, doing twist and shout. You know, most likely. Maybe I'll do twist and shout, but no, I won't do twist and shout.
Thanks a lot for watching this video and taking an interest in my channel. Please help me reach a larger audience by hitting subscribe below and ringing the notification bell. Check out my video playlist page to find the categories that most interest you. Leave me a super thanks here on YouTube, and even better, come join my Patreon. Please consider buying music for my original projects I.S.S. and High Castle Teleorchestra. Also, don't forget to sign up for my email list on the front page of timsmolens.com. You can find information about all of those things in the description below. Thanks again.